Before we get started, thank you to Castalia Cocktails for their support of Daily Detroit. Don't just drink cocktails, experience them with matching scents and knowledgeable barkeeps to guide you. Castalia is a great experience. Try one of their pairings or feel free to go off the menu with an adventure for your senses. The menu both tells you how boozy a drink is, and there is a full non-alcoholic lineup taking care to give you a top sensory experience no matter how you'd like to drink. Whether it's the intimate indoor bar with less than 20 seats, or when spring really decides to happen, hanging out on the patio outside, enjoying the best Detroit has to offer at 3980 2nd Avenue, Castalia is a great spot for a night out, a drink after dinner, or a date. Their new menu is called Riddles, with 8 different thought-provoking riddles that will keep your brain occupied while you imbibe. Castalia is open to all Wednesdays through Saturdays from 5 to 11 p.m., with unique experiences for small groups anytime with a reservation. I've got 2 things for you. You can learn more at CastaliaCocktails.com. That's CastaliaCocktails.com. Or you can check out the podcast I did with Dr. Kevin Peterson about drinks and the science of drinks at Cocktail Sense, wherever you download your favorite shows. All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to the end of the week, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. I am Jer Stays, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan. And joining me on the line, also, you are west of Woodward, because you're phoning it in, Devon O'Reilly. I cannot believe you. You are phoning it in on a Friday.
Oh no, phoning it in. What do we call this? This is I'm being patched in. I'm not on a phone. I'm not near a phone. Don't begrudge me, but yes, I am not in studio with you today. But that doesn't mean we can't have a good conversation. And we actually hung out this week, so we can talk about that.
Yeah, and we will in a second. But I want to tell people about something completely absurdly frivolous.
Okay.
And that is the recipe has been put out by the person who created. So this isn't a leak. This isn't a recreation. The Astro egg sandwich. Now, Astro Coffee was in Corktown and in kind of the Core City area, but mostly Corktown for like 10 years, right? And beloved coffee shop Alba Coffee is there now. But the thing that everybody remembered about Astro, at least to me, was the egg sandwich. It was one of the best egg sandwiches I've ever had in my life. And Jessica Hicks on her Substack shared the whole thing with pictures, with detailed instructions, even to the point of making like kind of the bread roll biscuit with it or whatever. And I just got to say, the angels sung when I saw that come through my Instagram feed, because this was, and I think still is, if one can recreate it, the best egg sandwich in all of Michigan.
Really? I didn't realize this was as big of a deal, honestly. I have had this sandwich probably maybe a couple times back when Astro was open in Corktown. I didn't realize it was that big of a deal.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I will read a quote for you. The Astro egg sandwiches have been by far and away the most beloved thing I have ever made. We made dozens of them every day at Astro for more than 10 years. When I used to tell people I owned Astro with my husband, they would often say, I love that egg sandwich, and it still happens from time to time, even 2 years after we closed. So yeah, this is really amazing. And I think it's interesting because it kind of has like a French kind of twist to it a little bit. And one of the things that gets in there is like it's extremely soft and fluffy, but a little gooey. It's amazing. One of the best I've ever had. And so I will link to it in the show notes.
I hope people can recreate it. Sometimes it's tough. You get the little technique of the chef comes out sometimes, and it's just hard. You can have a recipe, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can replicate it exactly. So I guess we'll have to give it a shot. For
sure. Now here's the thing that threw me. I did not realize it was apple cider vinegar in the aioli. Because there's an aioli, there's the eggs, and then so what I'm most worried about actually is the bread part. I am not a bread baker in any way, shape, or form. I feel like I can get the eggs with a little bit of practice. I'm actually pretty good at that. But the bread part, I am terrified of. So this is going to be some sort of mess after the NFL draft in my kitchen.
Well, if you're a little lazy, then you can still get great egg sandwiches at Iggy's and Avalon. Those are my go-to.
Those are good. I had I've had the Iggy's recently, and I love. So with that, I wonder if I can bring the two together, because I love me a good buttermilk biscuit.
Well, then you don't have to make it yourself. You can get them there. That might be a hack for it.
Now, usually we do where we've been, but we went to the same place.
Yes, we were together at Gilly's, the new sports bar that's all the craze, and I think I strategically reached out to you, Jer, to try and check it out at a time when I had hoped it would not be too crowded, and we were correct. So we were earlier this week for lunch.
Yeah, and I gotta say, they've done a really nice. I looked at it from outside and whatever, and I've seen renderings, but when you get in there, you're like, yep, this is a big city sports bar. This is everything from the ticker to the monitors to the giant monitor to the super, like they've got one of those cool like deflated basketball walls or like accent arts that are like all the rage on social media right now. I mean, they did a nice job.
We really needed this, and we've talked about it coming. I mean, Detroit had not had a true sports bar, something dedicated to sports, but I'm really impressed that they kind of walked the line and walked it well between kind of that upscale restaurant type of place, eatery, and like a sports bar that with that casual feel that you feel like you can be up at the bar watching the game, which you and I sat at the bar, but there was a bunch of different kinds of tables and booths. There's even the door walls, which I think were really cool. It was a nice day when we were there, so they had the door walls opened up. It kind of felt, breezy and had an indoor-outdoor feel to it. There's a whole second level that they seem to be using for events and things like that, and then a rooftop situation, which we didn't get to check out today, but or when we were there, but we'll have to go back. So all in all, I'm very impressed. And then the menu was a little interesting, right? It was something outside of the realm of just bar food.
For sure. And holy cats, the portion sizes.
Yeah, a wooden slab of nachos is what you had.
Yeah, it was intense, man. It was good, but it was intense. And there was, it was chicken. It was nachos with chicken. And then they had like the big old thing of guac and salsa and everything else. It was almost like nacho charcuterie.
Yeah, I kind of got that feel. It was definitely a shareable type of thing, which we didn't end up sharing because I got my own. I got the mahi tacos, which were very good, well-cooked fish tacos. I find myself eating a lot of those for lunch. And then you and I split the Oberon-soaked conies, which sounded really interesting. I have to say, they were delicious. I don't know if I specifically picked up any Oberon, but nonetheless, they were very good.
And here's the other thing. I will have to bring Randy there, but those fries that we had almost pass. I think they would pass the Randy fry quality test because he's real picky about those.
Yeah, the curly fries. It's not every day you find curly fries on a menu, and then they were pretty good.
Yeah, every time I have curly fries, I think of Arby's. Is that wrong?
Absolutely. No, I would say the same thing. I don't even know what I'd think of second. I would think of Arby's first, second, and third, because they do it really well. But no, Gilly's did a great job with that. It did fill up as we left, so like people know about this. It seemed like it was kind of maybe a little bit of a business crowd, a little bit of a tourist crowd. I think there was a Tigers game that day, so there's kind of some people there early. I think it's going to be great. I mean, absolutely packed for the draft. Again, I hate to say this, I don't want to deter anybody, but I'm pretty sure that place is going to be either bought out and rented for the draft or just packed to the brim. So maybe visiting it during draft week is not the play, but I would definitely go maybe for lunch or on a weeknight or even a weekend night, not on draft weekend.
Well, we are really coming up on the draft. The clock is very much close to being striking the hour, if you will. And I would say, there's been like a lot of guides, and you should download the official NFL app around that for more information. But what I keep hearing over and over and over and over and over and over again is if you're going to come down, get here early. Like, make a day of it. Like, literally, before we got on the air, we were joking about, what it's like to have kids and dogs and having to wake up early because, they do. And you get a good start on your day. And you're going to need to do that with this draft. Like, get a start on your day. Because if you try to wander in at like 1 or 2, my gut says is that you're going to have a pack situation and you're going to end up being on the periphery, which will still be fun. It's all about what the experience you want to do. But if you want to get into like the heart of things, getting there early, I think is going to be crucial. And, be ready. Like, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, definitely. We discussed it before. It's about what you want to do, and I think if you are someone who wants to actually like be in campus marshes for this, first of all, as we've talked about, you kind of have to pre-register. So you should have been on that already. You can't just wander into campus marshes, unfortunately for you, if you're thinking that way. So think about this. I would say the parks are all doing activations. So if you're someone who wants to be on the periphery, as you said, Capitol Park, Grand Circus Park, I know are both doing kind of activations. There'll be stuff on the river, on the riverfront, over in Hart Plaza, so you can kind of still be in the action, so to speak. You're not actually, I mean, they'll have screens up, so you'll be able to kind of watch the draft on TV. I don't want to set people's expectations. You probably won't be able to wander down there and just be looking right at the stage as the draft happens. Like that's not real. That's not realistic. But you can watch it on a screen from downtown with a bunch of people and have a lot of fun. And there's going to be, there's pop-up arcades. There's going to be all sorts of activations down there. So I think that's my best suggestion for folks is to, temper your expectations. You're not going to just walk down and view the draft. What you're probably going to do is walk down, be in a bunch of people, view the draft on a big screen, and take in all the action, the games, all the fun that's going to be down there.
And also look around for specific parties or events. So like I got one in my inbox over at Batch Brewing on Friday, like Friday afternoon from 2 to 6. And it's going to have like Lomas Brown and art by Philip Simpson. But that's a Batch Brewing in Corktown, a little bit out there. It's a whole, they call it the MI Homecoming thing. But there's a few of those around town where it's like, look for stuff where people are throwing special events and you might be able to find some interesting and fun party stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of restaurants and different places are using this as an opportunity to kind of like throw little parties and have fun. I mean, and also, remember the draft is only part of it. The draft is only going to last for like the actual draft is only going to last for a couple hours on Thursday night and then, a few hours on Saturday. So it's not like, it's not like this is an all day thing. The all day thing is going to be the parties, the revelry, all that. And so that's what you can kind of take in. It's basically, we're treating it like this is like we're having a giant festival in downtown this next week and weekend. So that's what you kind of think about it. It's just like the whole greater downtown is going to be activated with all sorts of stuff. So it's really, I think, a very festival like atmosphere.
I was down by the riverfront and I was encouraged to see that all of Hart Plaza has been repaved. So it's a completely different thing over there. It's completely smooth. It was almost disorienting because I'm so used to all the little bricks and whatever, but it's completely repaved with cement. I believe that they're really close on that Hart Plaza Dodge Fountain right there, and I'm really excited to see how much goes with that. There's just so this whole area is going to be kind of shut down as far as traffic goes. So it'll be interesting to see how everybody fills in and all the different activations through all of it.
Yeah, I mean, particularly coming from the east, it's really difficult getting into the city in any way. But I am pleased that whatever it takes, a lot of these like small public works projects have been taking place, and I've seen it, and we've seen it kind of downtown, whether it be kind of like cleaning up the streets or adding patching the pavement, more greenery. Like they've really kind of taken the opportunity to give downtown a little zhuzhing, so to speak. So it's going to look its best, and then we can all enjoy that
for sure. Thinking of the riverfront, there's also some news that broke that this summer that the Riverwalk is going to be expanding again with a new 900-foot long boardwalk. This is going to be the boardwalk, was completed in 2020, but there was an 1,800-foot connecting land stretch that kind of prevented it from being like a dead end, right? So you've got that West Riverfront Park, and then you've got the area over by Residences at Water Square, the old Joe Louis Arena. You kind of had to connect that all together. So this is going to go ahead and do that, which is kind of cool to make all of that happen. And so, I'm excited to see that happen. Some of the renderings are pretty neat. Like, it's really, really cool that the riverfront's getting even more stuff. Like, I feel like I'm at a new opening for something like every year. I mean, remember when I went down to over by the Belle Isle Bridge, the MacArthur Bridge, and Gabrielle Richard Park and all that? It seems like that was just yesterday.
Yeah, it's funny. It's incredible that we already have this world-class riverfront that's being voted, best riverfront in the country. And they're not done. They're still doing more stuff to it. And like you said, there's so much more activity. It's kind of crazy. It's like, where do you go from number one, right? I mean, we're gonna hold that title for a while at this rate, because if you thought it was good now, guess what? There's always something new coming. And once we get into the West Riverfront kind of full completion of what that's going to be, that's under construction. Wow, incredible.
Well, I wanted to get your thought on a couple of development things, because we are doing that grand pass of everybody, with that big story with the RenCen and the Hudson's Detroit. Now, Robin Runyon over at Urbanize broke the news, the confirmation that an Edition hotel is coming to Hudson's Detroit. That and the residences are going to take up 45 stories of the building. As I mentioned with Norris, General Motors is taking up a couple of stories at the top of the office tower, but the big chunk of this building is going to be this hotel, this Edition hotel, which is a 5-star hotel, which is a whole different level for Detroit, right, Devon?
We've not previously had a 5-star hotel.
So for listeners, what does that mean?
I think it's a level of amenities. I think really that it comes down to the level of amenities that a hotel provides, whether that be on-site concierge service and a pool, fitness center, the level of service you'll get just from the staff, the size of rooms, the kind of finishings, all that stuff. It all goes into it. I'm not even sure in particular what is that extra notch that makes it 5-star, but I guess we'll have to find out, won't we? It'll be cool to have here, like you said. Basically, most of the site now is spoken for, which is probably good. The Hudson site, you have the tower that will be basically residences and hotel, so that's the bulk of the tower portion, and then you have that kind of pedestal that will have General Motors taking up a couple floors. I think that's more not for show, but executives to basically plant their logo on the top of that building. I think that was the biggest thing there. And then the rest is a little up for interpretation in terms of the pedestal. I think that's where you'll see a lot of like public spaces, like perhaps things like movie theaters and activity, recreation areas, large scale kind of anchor stores, that sort of thing. And that's going to take up the bulk of the rest of the Hudson's. The Hudson's Detroit, I can't, Jer. I'm just calling it the Hudson's site.
It's interesting that you mention about retail and stores and things like that, because that is kind of the feeling a lot of people have about the RenCen.
Well, I mean, whether it's me or others, I mean, almost everyone has an opinion on this, it seems, and most people are wrong, probably, right? Most people are probably going to be wrong about this. I've seen just wild array of both semi-realistic, completely unrealistic, and possibly realistic ideas around this. I don't expect anything like super transformative. Whatever I'm going to mention is not going to be. Well, I mean, no, I don't think so. Maybe I become more cynical, but I think that the obvious is to. I think you have to find a way to do residential, and whether that means retrofitting, I know it's difficult. So everyone who says, make the towers residential, that is extremely difficult. I understand that, but I think you got to find a way to go residential with those towers, or you just add more hotel space. Because what do we need? We need more residences downtown, and we need hotel space. We need hotel rooms. We don't need business offices. So that is not what it's going to be. I could also see more of a public space, like an aquarium. I know that was mentioned. I would love to have an aquarium there. Bring back a movie theater, maybe. It would be awesome. We just don't have one really in the greater downtown area. So bring back a movie theater, something like that. That's where my head's at with what I think is going to happen. I don't think we're going to see any demos of the towers. That's just my semi-hot take. I know some people think we're going to demo the towers. I don't see that happening, but again, I could be wrong.
One of the biggest challenges is going to be connecting. Although it's like a mile away, it may as well be in another county in some ways.
You have to do something to address the distance that Jefferson Pass, and whether it's I know I kind of talked about going over. You just build. My idea was you have to find a way to build a large, big, wide pedestrian green space bridge, something that's inviting, something that lets you walk across it. 12 people wide, basically. Like that's what I'm picturing for trying to get over there and then have that spill into downtown and then spill into the RenCen. You had an idea of a little more subterranean variety.
Yeah, I feel like, why don't you, and I'm sure some experts going to crap on this and tell me it's terrible, but like, what if we kept the lodge buried a little bit further and made it so that that whole plaza in front of Huntington Place all the way up to Woodward became something that could be pedestrian activated with, what if we really remade that entire connection? Because honestly, it's not pleasurable to walk across. And I think that's the challenge. As long as that's the case, you're going to have like this division in development that is going to be very hard to erase.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because, what are we actually doing? We're undoing, quote unquote urban renewal from the late 60s and 70s that basically created this island on the other side of Jefferson with Riverfront Towers and the RenCen and Hart Plaza and all that stuff. Like they were designed to feel separate from the rest of downtown Detroit. And now that is the exact opposite of what we want. So there's a lot of undoing that needs to take place.
If you look at old maps and old pictures of Detroit, Woodward just went straight into the river. Like there's some stuff where it's kind of funny where you just like see Woodward hanging out there and like in a modern context, you just could like just drive right in.
Yeah, you could, and it was all industrial. That's the other thing. It's like we were it's like it was bad before, and it was bad even before that. Like in your 40s, 50s, 60s, it was all industrial. There wasn't any cool things on the river ever in the history of Detroit. So this is like the first time we're doing this.
Funnily enough, the Verner's plant for a long time was right next to the riverfront right there.
I mean, that's cool, but again, like not.
But like it's a multi-story plant just kind of sitting there, and it looks cool from like a picture point of view, but from like a public space point of view, it was a different era. We didn't think about things like we do now.
No, we didn't like green space and rivers. I don't know what those people were thinking, but we liked building beautiful buildings, but we did not give a damn about green space and rivers and waterways.
I'm interested to hear what people think. 313-789-3211. Have you been to Gilly's? Are you excited about the new Riverwalk? Do you share my love of the egg sandwich, or do you think we're completely off base with the RenCen? dailydetroit@gmail.com. Always appreciate the feedback. And Devon O'Reilly, I always appreciate you.
Always appreciate you, Jer. Look forward. We're gonna cross paths, I know, next week because it's gonna be a big one. We will find each other in the madness in the NFL draft because I know we'll both be down there taking it all in, and that'll be fun. In all seriousness, if you're down, I know that you're gonna be around. I'm gonna be around. Maybe Randy will be around. Fletcher will be around. Like, hit us up on Instagram, Daily Detroit, or shoot me an email or whatever. Always be good to run into some listeners and things, because this is a pretty big event. It'll be good to share it with some people. Yes, the Daily crew will be well represented. Hope the Lions make some good picks. We got new unis to show off, so that's cool. I'll look forward to seeing some people in their new Lions jerseys. Dan got his black jersey. Dan got his black. I am looking forward to seeing some black. I know people who went to the unveiling the other day. Actually, they were selling merch right on site. So some people already have their hands on it. I'm sure more will. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Lions jerseys because it's going to be a bunch of jerseys. All the teams are going to be represented there. There's going to be fans from everywhere. So I want to make sure Lions fans show up and represent, and I'm sure they will. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes who makes this show happen. Thank you to our members on Patreon, patreon.com/dailydetroit. And thank you for listening. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.